and I call on Deputy Clare Daly to move for leave to introduce.
And thanks, Councillor Corley. I'd just like to maybe make a few brief points in seeking leave to introduce the 34th Amendment to the Constitution, Right to Personal Autonomy and Bodily Integrity Bill 2014. And the purpose of this bill is to provide for a referendum to delete Article 43(3), the controversial 8th Amendment to the Constitution, which equated the life of a woman with that of a fetus, to delete that provision and replace it with a simple sentence declaring and acknowledging the rights of all citizens to personal autonomy and bodily integrity. And the basis for this bill originated in the incredibly successful and well-attended conference organised by the Repeal the 8th Amendment Coalition in September of this year in the city, where hundreds of delegates attended from medical practitioners, legal people, young women, young men, campaigners for women's rights over decades and indeed for human rights and civil society organisations. And there was discussions at that about what we needed to do to take forward important issues of women's health and bodily integrity. And the conference welcomed the fact that Fine Gael backbenchers had recognised the need to repeal the 8th Amendment. They recognised that a number of Labour ministers had said also that there needed to be a referendum to repeal the 8th Amendment, but the conference rejected the fact that that should be left to the next government. And the reason why they did so was very much in the context of the tragic Y case that occurred over the course of the summer. And again, another verification of the fact that our laws mean that it's poor people and it's people of vulnerable immigrant status who pay the price for this amendment, and they decided that we couldn't wait for the next government and that we should really take on board the facility of the fact that the government has agreed to call other referendums next year and do that. So we decided to use our private members' time to discuss this issue on the 16th and 17th of December, and we do so very much cognizant of the fact that our Constitution as it stands actually enshrines hypocrisy. And I just want to use the words of the former Minister for Justice and Equality, who actually put it much more eloquently than I did when he was the Minister for Equality and when we last discussed this issue in the House. He said that it can truly be said that the rights of pregnant women to have their health protected is, under our constitutional framework, a qualified right, as is their right to bodily integrity, and this will remain the position. This is a republic in which we proclaim the equality of all citizens, but it is in reality that some citizens are more equal than others, and that in the absence of constitutional change, there will continue to be a British solution to an Irish problem. And I simply don't accept that that is valid. I think it endangers women. It undermines human rights in our society, and because of the interests of all of our citizens, it can't wait until the next government. We need to discuss this now. We will be discussing it on the 16th and 17th of December, and that hopefully the government will be persuaded by those arguments and that we can put this to the people next year, and actually it will tally with the opinions of the people which have been repeatedly in favour of the need to deal with this constitutional block to women's health and bodily integrity rights.